your reputation with the day-to-day operation of a business, all right? And so it's populate, so we need to identify at this stage. And again, it has to also be documented. So identifying those things are not enough. We need to document what has been identified, okay, and then put a plan in place. So it's after the plan has been put in place that we then talk of, okay, how do we reinforce the barrier? Remember when I was taking you on health and safety last time, and we spoke about assets, integrity, management. I did tell you about the PDCA, the plan, do, check, and act, which is just the entire, four four phases that the ISO, the International Organization for Standardization, the ISO, built on as regards how to ensure that there is a system in your organization. Let me tell you this. If there is no system, if we just go to work every day and we don't think about planning, doing, checking the actions done, and acting on what you have checked, then it is not a system. All right. So you can go to the next slide. So emergency planning itself is on the strategic level, meaning that we are looking at it from a planning point of view, not just an operational point of view. All right. So at the beginning of the year, we're asking ourselves, all right, what can go wrong? How likely, how seriously, what could be impacted? And you ask those questions, all right. Then for us to then know what to do, we need to say, okay, what are those things that can disrupt normal operation? That's an emergency. All right. Or something unplanned, just like an accident or incident I told you the last time. It's something you don't plan, you don't expect, you don't desire, that happens. So what do we need to do? We need to plan against those things and implement our plan. So we said we should identify the barriers, asset integrity. All right. So it's the same thing. You identify the barriers, that's the planning. Then you operate within the confine of the barriers. You operate within the what we call the barrier limit. You have told yourself or have a plan for the organization. These are the things you want to do. Then you do what you have planned. So you operate within the design envelope. That's what I called it 2 days ago. You operate within the design envelope, the D. Then we move to do what? To reinforce or to ensure that the barrier we have put in place is reinforced, is checked. So I told you about checking, inspection, audits, and what have you. Then what do we need to do? We act on what we have checked by trying to do what to improve the barrier. So you identify the barrier, you implement the barrier, you sustain the barrier via maintenance. And you do what? You improve the barrier. Same format, same formula goes for emergency preparedness. Everything about us, health and safety, is built upon this management system of the PDCA. Plan, do, check, and act. Is built around asset integrity management, the AIM, where we identify integrity, that's the barriers, implement integrity while you operate within the design envelope, sustain integrity while we do the checks, we do the reviews, we audit, we inspect, we intervene, all right? And finally, we improve what has been checked, what we observe, what the audit outcome, the inspection outcome. We improve them and ensure that, there is a more standardized, barrier in place. And we go again through the plan, do, check, and act. So we said that emergency preparedness is the process of developing a plan to address the maintenance of essential functions of an organization. And it also focuses on things such as alternative location, alternative routes, alternative suppliers or vendors, communication, security, customer contacts, evacuation contacts, data collection, and everything that you can think of. So as I speak, it's actually raining in my city. I'm in Ibadan this evening. It's actually raining, and obviously some places will be flooded. So if you have a business premises, you're a facility manager of a school, facility manager of a commercial premises, facility manager of a residential estate, facility manager of a company, of a banking hall, or of a bank. All right. So is that you're the FM of the bank, or the bank has actually come to lease the premises from you guys? So you're managing the banking, premises and what have you. And or wherever you can work or you are working right now, always think about what can affect the essential function of your organization. That's the event that we are looking for. What is the threat to that event? What's the threat to your school opening tomorrow? What's the threat to the estates being accessible today because of the flood? Then we develop a plan to ensure that we are fully prepared for those emergency events and we can recover, not just relying on insurance payment alone. Next slide. I can see the next slide, please. Okay. So I've told you that it is not just something we do on a day-to-day basis. It's something that we plan and we manage. So it's at the strategic and tactical level of business operation. So from that level, we do the planning and we do the budgeting. So when we plan, we finance the plan. We make resources available for the plan. All right. So you've made a plan that, okay, maybe there is threat of theft, around the office or maybe in the area and everything. The question is, how do we prevent theft in these premises? How do we prevent theft in this workplace? How do we prevent theft in this hospital? How do we prevent theft in this residential estate? Strategic. You've asked yourself that question and you need to answer the question. One good thing about emergency preparedness is that it's not a one-man show. We have different departments that need to come together, to brainstorm, all right, and of course come up with useful ideas or actionable ideas that can be implemented. So if based on the threat, you said, okay, so there will be need for surveillance, so we need to have CCTV camera, we need to have physical manning. That means there must be physical guards. We need to have reinforced security wires over the fence. Or in fact, we need to even fence the estate or the school. All right. What do we need again? Maybe we need to even have police vehicle stationed close to the estate, or we even need to even have what we call the access control, like what we have at VGC, where before you go in, of course, you need to have called your host. Your host need to have raised and access, a code for you. So you go in there, you quote the code, meaning that you tell them what the access code is. They check on the system. They know that, okay, flat 4, road 6, house XYZ has requested for this code because they are expecting a visitor. All right. And, they even put a call through to the person. And of course, there is a confirmation that, yes, you are expected. Then they do the physical, and the security guys do the physical scanning of your vehicle, or the body scan, if you are walking by on foot, to ensure that you are not even coming to the estate with dangerous weapons such as guns. All right. Again, that depends on the risk assessment. What can go wrong? What you have agreed that can go wrong in that vicinity. That may not be applicable for your own estate. All right. So it is the flight of the bird that determines the swing of the stone. So if things are happening and you think there must be solution, it has to be created at the strategic level. Then what do you need to do? Make resources available. So we can't say things like this, then say there's no money. There must be a budget. All right. There must be money to execute that plan. There must be people available to execute that plan. So you put the plan under a PPPE. What do I mean? You put the plan under the 4 headers: the people, the plant, which is tools and equipment, the process, and of course, the environment. All right. So being strategic, you have the plan being created by stating what can go wrong, the resources needed, how to get the fund, or maybe it's already allocated. All right. And of course, we put that into tactical deployment. What do I mean? It becomes a managerial function. We then have people responsible to carry out the plan. Somebody needs to direct, lead, guide, and monitor the responsible persons, and that's the manager. That's the function of a manager. You provide the right guidance, the right coaching, the right oversight, all right, the right supervision to ensure that duties are carried out by those responsible. So we said that emergency preparedness is a strategic and managerial function tasked with creating an operational framework. That's the third leg. Strategic, managerial, and operational. Operation is about implementing, is about doing the do. So you create something that is doable, workable, traceable, accountable, trackable, so that we identify, track, document, and of course, mitigate the vulnerabilities, meaning the loopholes, the lacuna, the gaps on a day-to-day basis. So the work hazard, including, it's up to and including catastrophic disaster. We're going to be doing an exercise today, and I'll be using Diego Jota, the Liverpool player that died, as a case study in this case, because that can put to any organization and we need to pay for it. In his case, of course, there is time and chance for replacement. But in some other cases, how do I say this? In his case for Liverpool, there is time and chance for replacement. In his case for his wife and kids, there is no replacement. All right. So it depends on. So I'll be showing you on this call what we call the event threat analysis. I'll be linking that with the failure mode event analysis that we do in engineering. And I'll make you see why and how you should prepare for an emergency. Anything can go wrong. Someone you see today, you may see him no more. You may see her no more. So what should we do? I want to say see her no more. It doesn't have to be dead. Come on, guys. The person can relocate. The person can resign. The person can walk away. So are we supposed to be stranded? What do we need to do? We'll come to that. So the process of developing a plan to address the maintenance of this is what we are actually looking at as emergency preparedness. Next slide, please. Okay. Can you take a minute to review what is on the screen? What do I have on the screen? A non-exhaustive list. When I say non-exhaustive, it means that we may still have more. But these are examples of things that can happen globally. Non-exhaustive. Israel striking Iran was an accident waiting to happen. But at the point when it started, people were not prepared. The response by Iran to Israel, breaking through the Iron Dome, was not expected. All right? And it created a global emergency. Listen to this. The concern or the intents of Israel may be correct, but the impacts, I use the word intents, all right? But the impact and consequence is beyond people that started it. So someone has a shop and a drone drops a bomb in that person's area and burns up the shop and house. So is the government going to be responsible to build a new house in the short time or within the short time? And of course, empower the person to start a new life? Maybe the answer is no. Take a look at this. If you are here, if you are following me, and you have spotted maybe 5 or 6 hazards that can likely impact you and your organization, please, you can unmute your mic and tell us about it. Meaning that if you are managing an organization and you are seeing to 5 or 6 things can happen, you can unmute your mic and let's talk about it. All right. Anyone? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, anyone? That's
Yes.
I've seen 5. Yeah, please. Yeah, you can speak
Cyber
up.
cyber attack.
Okay, wait. What's your name and where do you work, please?
My name is Mary Alabi. I work at several rapids. I work with several rapids.
You work with who, please?
Several rapids.
Okay. So thank you. Can you then take us through what you think can affect your organization? At least 6 from
Yes.
this list. I guide you say cyber attack.
Okay. Number one, cyber.
Correct. 1.
Number two, major water main break. Number three,
Major water main break.
oil
Can you
spill
explain that,
in
please?
terms of
Can you explain major water main break?
okay. Okay, to my understanding of that, so in case the pipes connecting the water, because there was a time I had an issue. We had some concealed pipes within the office walls, and we had some
Mm-hmm.
leakages, and it started causing the wall part to be shocking people. So people staying near there, if they rest too much on the wall, so they will be triggered by the electric shock. So the water
Okay.
began to spread across the wall, and it was an issue. We had to move everyone away from that floor till we were able to solve the water spillage. And we changed the pipe and did the necessary things.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's a pipe leakage. Um, Maybe not a
Yes.
major water. So major water will actually lead to serious flooding. All right. But continue. Thank you. You've
Okay.
told us about 2.
You're welcome. Then oil spill. Oil
Oil
spill.
spill. Okay.
Yeah, in generator maintenance, like during servicing or during
I know. I
oil
get.
spill.
Continue. You don't
I want.
explain. Don't explain. If I need an explain, I will let you know.
Okay, okay.
So you said cyber attack, major water main break, oil spill.
Yes.
Continue, please.
Water pollution, shortage,
Yeah. Okay.
water pollution shortage, then flash
So can
flood.
you differentiate between water pollution and water shortage? Because they're 2 different things.
Yes, yes, I know. Water shortage,
So
maybe there's shortage of water in the facility. We are unable to pump enough water across the building, and as such, there's water shortage. Or maybe the borehole has issues and it affected the quantity of water that is being dispensed into the tank. Then water pollution, probably the
mm,
water treatment is not functioning as it should, is an issue. So raw water begins to dispense across the taps, And raw water is dirty, is smelly, so and we can't
Okay,
advise
okay,
people to.
okay, okay. Thank you. I'm happy. So maybe I should give you the mic and I can take a rest. Maybe you can take us to this class. Maybe.
I know, so in
Should we
fact,
do it
I'll
that
be
way?
getting down. I won't be able
All
to
right,
talk anymore.
all right. That's just a joke.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
thank you so much. So guys, so that is what we're trying to look at to say as a facility manager, can you sit down and list a minimum of 10 things that can go wrong? 10 that can actually go wrong, and that you need to quickly curb. Otherwise, it becomes a big issue. All right. She has spoken about cyber attack, and I won't like to, dig deeper into that because of data governance and things like that. But the question is, do we have data governance in your organization? Are we preventing cyber security issues, cyber attack? Are we trained or have you trained your people around even use of social media, for company um purposes? So I've seen where some people tell me, oh, someone's WhatsApp number was hijacked. This was done, this, that, and that. And the question will be, has the person exposed himself or herself, to what now? Remember, visited websites that you know are not to be visited. So we need to understand that fully, and we then say, okay, what next do we need to do? All right, potential hazards in your organization. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is just around definition. Say instead of being prepared, that's preparedness, and recovery after it has happened, that is business continuity. That's just the differences. So the first one is preventing something. The second one, it has happened and we're trying to just recover as fast as we can. Next slide. I did mention that it's not a one-man show. All right. So there must be what we call a planning committee or a steering committee for emergency preparedness. So we said this starts by having a designated planning team with corporate executive authority. That's what we mean, with the CEO's mandate, with the management board's mandate, and adequate budgets. I think I mentioned this the last time. So that they can develop a comprehensive plan to respond, that's to address, identify the emergency situations. So you have identified the situations, but as FM, but that's not enough. We need to have a team that is put together by the CEO. That means they have the the MD's mandate to do this. So it's not like we just felt. And so somebody may ask me, oh, Engineer KP, why is this not working? It won't work because you are not carrying the mandate. Nobody sent you. You sent yourself. Good. You have now sent yourself. And again, forcing people, you can't force them now. You have to sell. You have to influence. That's a leader. A leader influences. So it's how much you can influence. So influence means you are making people to see things from your point of view and swing them to support you, to back you up. So how do you do that? It's not by forcing them. It's not by saying, no, I've attended facility management diploma course, and now you guys need to follow. No. Business case development. Why do we need to do what we want to do? What do we stand to lose or gain if we don't do it? What's the benefit to the organization? Business case. What is the payback period? What is the return on investment? What is the net present value? In fact, you don't need to combine all this. I said what we stand to lose, right? Opportunity cost. Don't worry, we're supposed to do this for 10,000. So it's costing us 10,000 naira. However, if we fail to do it and these events happen, we are losing 1 million. Then somebody will now ask you that why won't we do 10,000 over 1 million? All right. Let people see it from the point of loss and benefits, loss and gain. With in the business development, we do the summary, executive summary, right? Then we talk about the benefits to the business. All right. We talk about the money involved, what we need to spend. Then we look at what approvals do we need, what we should approve. After that, we look at how do we plan to spend the money, in what phase, maybe year 1, year 2, year 3, year 0. So that means current year, and if it's something that you want to do in 2 phases, you want to say current year +1, current year +2. That means this year 2025 and 2026, or 2025 alone, or 2025, 2026, 2027. For instance, if it's maybe a CCTV like camera implementation, you can decide to phase the priority into 3 and say, okay, maybe we need to do this part first. Because if you decide to do everything at once, the money may be so bogus that it's no longer an attractive or interesting business case. It's no longer cutting it for us in terms of loss and benefits or loss prevention. Maybe we have another class where we actually talk about business case holistically, and we look at the return on investment, or we do a simple MPV calculation. This is not part of your course right now. All right, maybe it's something we can look at in the future. Okay, so you cannot be talking of preparing for an emergency without money, and that's why the finance department is very important. They will help you with the business case calculation and everything. Everything I've said, finance will do it. Maybe I don't even know about all these business case, blah blah, deeply, but I know now because I oversee the project department. So there's no way we talk about projects for our organization without talking about business case. Maybe I assume that you guys know me. My name is Engineer Kolapo Bolade. So I didn't do the introduction at the beginning, right? So I'm head of projects and of course engineering and sustainability projects for British American Tobacco, West and Central Africa. All right. So I oversee both sustainability and engineering, project implementation, planning and implementation, basically. All right. And of course, through the Prince 2 and PMP approach. All right. So it's been, a very, so I was telling Miracle that she should give me a nudge, even days ahead of this to ensure that I don't miss this on my calendar. All right. So finance guys need to be in the know. HR people need to be in the know, because you will need to bring people from other departments, both for planning and again for implementation. So both for the managerial, that's tactical, and the operational level of deployment. All right. So you need people to be together in the room to plan. You also need people on the field to implement. So for instance, you need fire safety marshals. You can't just come to my department and say you have picked somebody. Pick somebody how, when, where. There was that collaboration, all right, to say, okay, this person, and so if we count as part of the personal objective, the PO of that personnel, because it is aligned with the BO, with the business objectives. So if your personal objective is not aligned to the business objective, then we are not talking. You're not speaking to me. If you are doing something and I can't see the end game, as your manager, I'm not aligned. But if it's something that is through the HR, then I'm, of course, fully and only aligned. Public affairs, communication will happen. If there is an incident, people will get to know. So am I the one that will go there and then tell them that, oh, we are sorry, we lost a car? We didn't lose anything. It's not my job. Somebody will make sure that that communication is effected and effected correctly. Okay? Legal team, in case it becomes a court issue. Operation and production. Facility management, where where you're actually playing right now. Maintenance and, of course, maybe services, or what some people call operations again. And you should, in fact, involve people that will either cause the hazards or be affected by the hazard or be impacted by the hazard. So if you are managing a facility, you are managing a facility such as a residential estate, you are not the one staying there. Some people actually stay in the estate. So if there will be a risk of fire, the building going on fire, it won't be in most cases it won't be caused by you. It will be caused by occupants of the building. So they must be involved. They must know what can cause fire and how to prevent it. They must understand how fire burn or how fire grow, and understand the use of the preventive measure and, of course, the fire extinguishers. They must understand the do's and don'ts. In fact, they will tell you what is not practicable based on what you are saying. So the tenants in a commercial building or an industrial setup, the workers must have a representative involved in the emergency planning. At the end of the day, you're going to tell them to tell their people. You're going to tell the tenants to tell other occupants, maybe family members, XYZ that should be done and not be done. All right. And of course, you may want to involve some of us as your life safety specialist. You want to involve some of us as your engineering consultant to say, okay, what we're saying here doesn't make sense. I will then give you, some valid, advice or what have you on what needs to be done. What am I saying in summary? That emergency planning is not, and of course, business continuity planning is not a one-man event. It's something that should be done together with a team. Next slide, please. Okay, so we're saying that a competent facility manager must be able to do the following. All right. You must be able to do everything listed here. So you may just take a minute to go through that. Next slide, please. Okay, so let me explain this. From left to right, and the top layer, upper echelon, is talking about the experience of the organization with emergency planning and or business continuity, situations. Below that is saying that what should the facility manager in that organization do based on the experience of the organization, or replace the word experience with maturity, based on the maturity of the organization in respect of emergency planning and business continuity. So when you say that the organization is unaware, no planning, no budget, nothing, they're just there. What should the FM do? Just look down, look at the is it the y-axis now, right? So look at the negative y. And it's saying that the facility manager should ensure that at least the facility is complying to local regulation. So it's a one-man business. All right. They are actually, just leaving it to luck and chance, to fate and chance. As an FM, you are employed to work in that organization, but you can see that it's just an unsystemized or not systematic, one-man show organization. It's still not a problem, sir. So because I've seen people complain, no, our company just one man, is Kolakwa and Sons, is this, is that. Hello, ma. Am I paying your salary? If the answer is yes, please do your job. Don't complain. All right. Don't come and be telling me that when you went for your master's degree in facility management at Unilag, this is what they told you. That's what they told you. When you are doing your FMP certification or CFM with IFMA, yes, sir, I understand you clearly. Oh, you've come to say no, Kolakwa, that's not how we're taught. I'm a PMP holder. Hello, sir. If where you are working is a one-man organization that they are unaware of all these things I'm talking about, at a minimum, you as an FM should ask for local regulation. I want to say local. I'm not talking about local government. I know you know. I'm talking about the national, states, and of course, local governments and industry-specific organizations, regulations. National, state, local, and industry-specific what? Regulations. So what are they saying in FMCG? You're an FM, and somehow, you're also overseeing waste disposal. Hello, if you're in Lagos, what is LASEPA saying around waste disposal, waste management? What are the regulations from the Ministry of Environment at the national and state level around waste management? What is in vogue in your industry, in your sector? I work for IBDEC. The waste management, what is there? What are we talking about? Those are the local regulations. Every building, whether you are tenanted or you are the landlord, must, if it's used for commercial purpose in Nigeria, must comply with the Federal Fire Service Inspection Code. Meaning that Fire Service guys must come on an annual basis, do what we call facility premises inspection, and give you a valid certificate for the year. That should happen every January. Guys, local regulation, there's no excuse. Oh, we are small. I'm not aligned when we end up paying fines as an organization. How will you pay fine? Or why should you pay fine? That means there's a lacuna. That means there is a knowledge gap. If you pay fine again, it's fine. I said, if you pay fine, it's fine, but you're not fine. If you pay fines to the government, I'm okay. All right. But you shouldn't be fined. Because it shows that someone does not know that there are some things that should be done. So open a tracker. FM, whether you are practicing or you are whether you are practicing on an aspiring facility manager, open an Excel tracker, Excel tracker. Google, I'm not the one that will tell you everything. What are the local regulations a residential estate should comply with in Lagos State if you're in Lagos? And you'll be shocked. There have been some researches done on this, and of course, some free, some bloggers have written some free articles on this. And you read and you list them out. What's the period of validity. So I work as a NESRA accredited, environmental consultant. Most times people tell me, oh, Kolakpo, how many years is this? How many years is that? If there's a change in law, then we need to update the regulation. I mean, even the tracker on our side. But if there is an emergency management plan, EMP, that should be valid for 3 years, you should know. Don't let somebody come to you and say that you cannot open your premises because your EMP has expired. The question is, do you even know you're supposed to have an EMP, an emergency management, an environmental management plan, EMP? If yes, do we have the report and the certificate from NESRA? Depending on your industry, do you also need to register that with the state government? Or again, does the state you are in demanding that we should register? If yes, resources must be. So those are local regulations. And I said business case, right? The other time. You're then making a case to your employer to say, we need to do XYZ. But if we don't do, these are the consequences. The fines. Yesterday, I was telling about 3 reasons why we practice health and safety, right? Or we implement health and safety in the workplace. I was talking about the duty of care, the moral reasons, looking at karma and other, ILO, regulations. There is the Convention 187, all right, saying that you have to do X, Y, Z. You have to provide a safe workplace and a safe equipment, for your employees. Okay. Then, secondly, we talked about the what do you call now? Financial reasons. And thirdly, we spoke about the legal reason, where you can either pay compensation or you can actually be criminalized. So is that civil or criminal? The law is very clear. Is it a civil suit? Is it a civil lawsuit? Is it a criminal lawsuit? When duty of care is breached, when you are doing something contrary to the laws of the land, sir, you can be jailed. You can be jailed. You need a lawyer. So imagine your parents have been sued, and now you have to pay the fine, get a lawyer, do some sign off, and yet their income or revenue have been lost because the person has been sued. So you are running this market, even privately, you are running this market, and you don't have the rights. So you went to open a pharmacy shop, and you're not a pharmacist, and you don't have the right certificate from somebody that is giving that backup. So if the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria comes together with NAFDAC to seal and arrest people in your quote pharmacy shop, but that's not even pharmacy outlet, it's a shop, a lot of losses will be incurred. But when you sit down to count the costs, some of us, before we set up any organization or any company or any business, we want to run it through the SWOT analysis and the PERS, right? So you look at the political, you look at the economic, you look at the social, the technology, all right, the legal framework, and maybe even the environment that you want to, you want to set up or build within. And under the legal framework, that's where local regulations then set in to say, what are those things you need to do? What are those certificates you need to have? What are the licenses we need to have? What are those things we need to comply with? I'll try and comply with them. Let's move quickly. If your organization have some awareness, but there is little, planning integration, again, it's still not a problem. What you need to do, you need to identify the risks, and this is where you can implement what I'm saying this afternoon or this evening. If there is little, at least little awareness, then you can then come up with the risks and say, okay, both the EMP, which is the preventive, and of course the business continuity, which is the mitigation, and say, if we don't do this now, this will happen. And if this happen, these are the things we still need to do for us to continue. So that means you don't comply with the law, your premises is shut off, is closed, we pay the fines, then we will open. Then let the guys managing the business make a call, make a decision. If there is growing awareness so that they are able to identify essential processes and plans, as the FMC, Oma, you need to lead that organization in facility management practices and help identify essential processes. You need to develop contingency plan. If this thing should happen, what should we do? That's the business contingency plan. That's developed. But if your organization is fully aware, fully mature, so that the emergency plan and the business continuity plans are integrated within the business strategy, within the vision and mission of the business, within the business objectives. All right. Within what we call the CBN, not Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, compelling business needs. This year, what are our goals? What's the compelling, what is that we achieve? What's those top five things that we achieve them? Then we are done for the year. As if you work in the bank or insurance company, just tell you, revenue of so billion. Was by the maths, they know the break-even number. So if the moment we hit this particular target or number, automatically we are broken even. Maybe while still keeping the head count static, they won't tell you about the head count. They will tell you cost per something. So if you're into what now? If you're in a beverage company, you can say maybe cost per liter. So cost per liter of Coke. All right. Because they've done that math, I know that okay, if we can produce 1 liter of Coke with 30 naira, and already we are selling, or maybe we can produce, don't let me say 30 naira, so you guys don't think that's the actual. So let's say that so they sell Coke for 500 now, all right? Maybe from the factory, maybe it's 300. So they now say that, oh, if we can produce Coke at 120 naira, 150 naira, all costs integrated, cost of sugar, cost of the PET bottle, cost of the water, cost of the employees, the workers, cost of the environment, the position of the building and equipment, or plant and equipment, P&E. All right. So, and we've done all this, and we say, okay, if after doing all this, we can produce 1 bottle of Coke at 250 or 300 naira, then we are fine. So that means for every bottle of Coke, all costs associated with the production has been factored in. That means anything after that becomes a profit. All right. And we stick to that, including cost of logistics. And we stick to that. I don't need to then start telling you that, oh, salary. We've even done maybe we've promoted or promoted salary increments. And I say, okay, you know what? All we need to do is make sure the cost of production does not exceed 300 naira. And that's all. We now say, okay, what is the compelling business need? Then we put a number to it. Zero what? Zero LTI, lost time injury. That's health and safety. Oh, zero. What again? Lost mindset. Meaning that everybody is thinking that we must succeed. So if there is a breakdown, we are working together. Not the one that somebody will go and send an email and say, I've done my part, I've played my part, I've done my own. Done your own how? Is the machine working? You don't know by sending an email. You don't know by reporting. Really? The generator has broken down. All you can do is to pick up the phone or pick up your WhatsApp, the phone, send a WhatsApp chat to say, the generator is off or generator has broken down. So what should we do with it? Which one might hit the generator? That's what the question should be, what next? What should we do? All right. And that is where that zero loss mindset comes in. I'm here and I'm asking, how can I help? What do you want? What do you need from me? What do you need me to do now? All right. That shows that, of course, I'm working towards the zero loss for the organization. zero, like I told you, zero loss in terms of health and safety. So that means monitoring your guys, following the hierarchy of controls, where the organization is matured enough for work permits, we start implementing such and things like that. It shows that yes, there is ownership, there is strategy in place, there is somebody thinking or somebody thinking right. Okay. But if we don't have compelling business need, then there's no need. If the organization already is strategically aligned to emergency preparedness and the business continuity, that organization will actually have dedicated persons in EP and BC function. It could be an add-on, but something as simple as having a record management, supervisor, and the person also looking at emergency preparedness and things like that, will be something that will be visible within such organization. Next slide, please. Why? What's the benefits? We have it here. The assets, the essential processes, the improved compliance, insurance rates will be reduced. You know why? There'll be fewer or lesser accidents in such workplace. So it is then easy for you to even argue for insurance discounts. Of course, the stakeholders will be satisfied. What again? Teamwork and better collaboration, and everything you can think of, efficiency, proactiveness, and decreased vulnerability to litigation. Let me make on that. Because we have seen what can go wrong. We have put plans in place. So let's say we saw 10 things. We plan for the 10. It's possible one or two can still slip through the cracks. When there is crack on the wall, someone can still go in. All right. So when there's a crack, maybe the big lizard, the big rats will not be able to go in. But it's only the ants can still penetrate. All right. So there can still be what we call the slip when there is crack on the wall. All right. But that will be properly managed because one, it's not going to be a big issue. And two, there is a bit of focus because the numbers are reduced. All right. Versus when there is nothing, no plan. We're just sitting there and we expect miracles to happen. It won't happen. All right? It will not happen. Next slide. So yesterday I did mention people, environment, asset, and reputation. And in fact, I added security, right? When I spoke about, that was 2 days ago, when I spoke about kidnapping and what have you. So we're saying that the priorities should be in this order. People, although we're in Nigeria, where asset is more important than environment. But in some other countries, in a sane country, environment has more importance than the asset. If the asset is damaged, it can be replaced. If the environment is damaged, so someone was talking about oil spill the other time. So if there is oil spillage and it goes into flowing water body, it doesn't need to flow. It goes into water body, whether it's stagnant or flowing. Meaning that whether it's not a non-flowing drainage, a gutter, and the spot that the oil from your factory or from your office or from a generator house or from a residential apartment or estate is one that has leaked into the drainage, they will seal it up. If that goes into a flowing water body like a river, such that we can claim on impact that the fishes in the river are gone, the people's source of livelihood around, fishing is gone. We can also claim that even maybe some people use that water, maybe is a source of drinking or domestic, it is for domestic use, such as drinking or washing, then you're actually in proper soup. All right. Then that's when you know that your machine that got damaged is less important to the environment. If there is an environmental pollution, whether it is air, land, or water, then you know that again there is a problem. Of course, that will then impact your company's reputation. All right, then it becomes a gbas of a thing. All right, so we need to ensure that we safeguard people, not just physically alone. Yesterday I told you about mental health. All right, mentally, people cannot be down and you keep them down. It doesn't work that way. They are down. You need to, make sure that they are looking brighter every time. You need to ensure that you stabilize essential business processes by following what I've just said. This will also help you to secure the company's reputation and it will support your quick recovery as a business. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is very similar to the PDCA. And here we're saying that the risk management process, that you have to identify and assess the risks. You identify the critical assets or processes. All right. Then afterwards, you develop a strategy. I'll show you the strategy now. And you implement the risk plan. Whatever you have seen during your implementation, which you're doing, it goes back to be monitored, evaluated, and revised. And the outcome of that goes back into your identification and assessment of risks. So it's just like you are doing a plan, do, check, and act. All right. Next slide. Do you want to take a 1 minute break? Because nobody can. I can no, go a step further. Let me see. Next one is in that slide. Okay, let me talk about this before I discuss the previous one. All right. We mentioned the risk strategy the other time, and there are 5 strategies that we need to just say adopt now or be familiar with. The first one is around tolerance. Second one, so tolerance means that you accept the risk the way it is. So there is a risk, and you are tolerating, you are living with it. All right. That means you put in controls to see how you can manage it the way it is. Secondly, you can avoid it by not doing it at all. Thirdly, you can prevent by being proactive. Again, you can mitigate it by saying that, okay, if it happens, these and these and these are what we're going to do. And finally, you can outsource, transfer, or share the risks by not even being the person doing it, by engaging specialists. So, for instance, you want to carry out maybe work at tight activities. You can decide to employ people that are actually specialists of work at tight. Companies that know how to, they have the scaffold, they have the MUP, the mobile elevated work platform, such as either Skyjack, Jenny Boom and what have you. So they can come and do it the proper way, as against you just trying to, just save money for the company and get your team to just do it without knowing how to do it properly. All right. If we do risk transfer, for instance, we insure our houses, our vehicle against theft and fire. Some of us do life insurance against debt and everything. It's transfer of risks. So if the unexpected then happens, there is something we can fall back to. All right. Go to the previous slide, please. Do you want to take water break? Go to the previous slide. Does anyone take water break? Because for the next 10 minutes, you can't afford to sleep or doze. Do you want to take 1 minute water break?
Yes.
Yes to what, please? The break? Economics break?
Okay.
Yes to the break.
Hello?
Yes to the break.
Okay.
Water break.
Yes to the break. Water break, please.
Yes.
Because
Okay.
you can't afford to miss the extension of this slide. Thank you. So I will wait. Are we almost back now? It's 3 minutes. Hello, guys.
Hi.
Yes, sir.
Should we wait 1 more minute for others? Can you please give them a nudge? We've done 4 minutes break now. Don't mind me.
So let's
Yeah.
continue.
Okay. All right. So what you are viewing on it, what you are seeing on your screen is what we call the event threat analysis, ETA, to the left-hand side, right? It's very similar to what we use for reliability in engineering, which we call, failure mode and effect analysis. Female, all right. So is a principle that follows the SOD rule. SOD, S for severity, O for occurrence, that's likelihood of occurrence, and D for detection. So we're seeing that. Remember at the beginning of this class today, I asked somebody to identify maybe top 5 or top 6, and maybe told us about main water breakage, cyber attack, what again? Water pollution, water shortage, what again? Power outage, that's complete darkness, right? So can we agree on an industry now? So we can do a practical session of what an event threat analysis really is and how we can, prioritize. So this tool want to do 2 or 3 things for us. Let me say 3 things. One is to conduct a risk analysis or assessment of whatever we have identified as a problem. 2 is to prioritize that problem to know which one we should do now based on the resource available or based on the resources available. So if you have the resources for everything, then do everything, do all. If you have resources for a path for few of these things, then which one should we do? What is that logical approach? All right. Am I just to say, based on my point of view, I think we should do CCTV camera? And I'll say, no, we should employ a security guard. And I say, we say, no, let's construct the fence. And the person say, no, let's just get our tekun. And another person say, no, let's go traditional. Let's just one concealer. So and stop laughing now. And somebody will like one concealer, say, yeah, we just want concealer. And when the thief just see the shop, they'll be afraid and they won't go. When they see your agricultural produce, they will not enter the farm. Says who? All right. And that then leads to an argument, right? But when we say, okay, you know what? What can we prioritize? How much do we have? What are the things we need to do? And we give priority. By so doing, without any argument or ambiguity, without any fight or place of confusion, we know what exactly we are supposed to do. All right. So whether it's a school, is a residential estate, is a business premise, is an oil and gas facility, is an FMCG factory, what again? Anything, name it. The telecoms site. The question is, what can go wrong? What can go wrong? What can go wrong is somebody says this I have failed me before. Now you use Amotekun, no problem. So what we are then saying is that let me say this. CCTV is not for MIC preparedness. CCTV is for business continuity. Let me put it in that simple English. CCTV will not catch the thief, but it will make you know who came to steal. So knowing who came, knowing if anything you do after the event has happened is what? Is reactive, is a mitigation, is a business recovery strategy or tactics. Anything you do before is proactive, is preventive, is for preparedness. So if you have a CCTV, unless that CCTV is monitored live, so we also, like where I work, we have a CCTV with I think over 15 monitors with people sitting down, and their job is to be looking at the CCTV camera, the CCTV monitor or screen. And when there is, and yet they have physical guards. So when there is an issue, they can radio the guard to say, "Can you check social place? I think something is happening." At that point, the CCTV is no longer reactive because it is real time and on time. So it is because you are paying people to sit down and be watching it 24 hours. All right. It's not from when you install CCTV and when these guys that go around stealing things under the disguise of scavengers. All right. If they steal your solar lights and you now watch the CCTV, you now realize, oh, one guy came yesterday night and it's now a reactive strategy. The deed has been done. However, maybe we can we'll be able to identify the face of the person and then report at the police station or police post, and the person will then be apprehended. However, if that's not the case, you can only tell the story that I know the person that came to steal my whatever, but you cannot arrest anybody. However, getting a security guard, all right, will be more of a proactive thing. But we also have situations where the guard connived with even the armed robbers, and they steal. At that point, how do you then address it? All right. So it depends on how you view it, but there is always a point of view. So in this case, for today's example, do you want us to go with what's on this slide, or you want to mention one industry and we run it? I'm ready for the freestyle. It depends on what you want. No response. Okay. So let me go with what we have here then. In an accounting office, on an account, of course, occupying within their office. Am I alone in this class?
We are with you.
Is anyone on this call?
No,
or am I the only one here?
The line is breaking. I don't know whether it's only me. I can't.
Yeah.
You can't hear me. Is that what you're saying?
At a point on my side, it was breaking.
But can you hear me now?
So
please stop moving the slides.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. So I was saying that on this left-hand side, we have a table, all right, where you see A, B, C, D, right? Can somebody unmute his or her mic? So I know I'm talking to somebody. Can somebody just unmute his or her mic and just be responding as I'm speaking?
Yes, we can see A, B, C, D. A, event
Okay.
probability.
Okay, so probability means likelihood of occurrence. All right. Speed of onset is also the same as detection. If this thing is going to happen, can we detect it quick enough, or is it something that will just happen to us suddenly? Existing mitigation means that do we have things that we are doing that will help us to control, prevent the incident hazard from happening. Then severity of impact means that how bad is the consequence. So this risk probability number, or what we call the threat ranking index, is a multiplication of those 4 boxes or columns. And the higher the number, the more severe the issue. The higher the number, the more severe the issue. Okay. In this instance, they say that there is water supply interruption that can happen for more than 4 hours. So after 4 hours of maybe non-availability of water in that building, it then becomes a crisis. And this, they said, is the event likely? They said no, it's not likely. All right, it's not likely. That means they have a firm or steady source of water supply. However, if it's going to happen, can they be notified? Can they know easily? The answer is no. How do I know that? They said the speed of onset is sudden. Again, even if the speed of onset is sudden, is there a chance that we have things in place already? They said no. They have none or weak mitigation. That's column C. Under that C header. I'm reading through water supply interruption exceeding 4 hours. And finally, we said, okay, what is the impact? So the impact is considerable. They formed that team with finance, HR, HSC, facility manager, and everything. And this is their conclusion. So if you multiply 1 by 3 by 3 by 2, 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. That's why you saw that 18 under threat ranking index. Is that clear? Yes, right? Okay. And
the more severe the issue.
yes, the higher the number, the final number, the more severe the issue. That's where you should pump your money. That's what is on the high risk that you should plan for. If you look at it, the highest number here is 54. So let's talk about the 50.
Oh, 54, yes.
54. Let's talk about the 54. So what's the
loss of key?
They say sudden loss of key personnel. Sudden loss of their top striker. In this case, it's not about death. So let's assume a scenario of Japa. All right. So we are saying that. So we are saying that event probability, is it possible, likely, probable that somebody, that key guy, will leave your business? They say it is possible. You know why? It's not a shareholder now. You can't say it's impossible. Is it the owner of the company? All right. So it is possible that he can leave. All right. Okay, so he can leave maybe because of better environment, work environment, better manager, he doesn't like you, or better pay, more money. All right, so it's possible. That is the two. Then speed of onset. If this guy is going to leave or resign, will you know? Because that is sudden. You know why? Maybe the contract you gave to him, you said notice period is 1 week or something, or you can pay 1 week in lieu of notice. Just because also in your mind, you want to sack him back, so you don't want to pay him. So you wrote a contract of 1 week. Let me shock you. In consulting, so I used to work as manager of sustainability and climate change for the #1 accounting firm in Nigeria, maybe globally. All right. And that was PwC. So in 2020. And I was shocked when I have that contract to sign. And I saw notice period, 3 months. 3 months care. Now I want to stay. But that is it. If you are a manager in a consulting company, you have 3 months notice period to give. So you can never be sudden. They can't just wake up and tomorrow you are no more. You've gone to the US. No, you can't go. Either you pay 3 months gross salary, or you give them 3 months notice, which is enough time for them to plan your exit from the business. In most other companies, it's just 1 month. It's just 1 month, right? But either way, 1 month is also fine because 4 weeks. But some of us, again, we don't go on leave, accumulating those number of days, right? Then when you now resign, you now say, I'm giving 1 month notice. However, I will proceed on my leave for the next 10 days. That means effectively I've only given 2 weeks notice. All right.
Exactly.
And those are the things you need to watch out for. When we're talking of leave plan, your guys should go on leave. It's detrimental for your business if people are not going on leave and in your mind you're happy, or you are trying to then commercialize or monetize the leave. It's okay if the guy is going to resign and is mature enough, he will tell you that, okay, he's giving you the 1 month notice. However, you are owing him 1 month leave. So he has not gone on leave from January to date. That means you will pay salary and he can walk away tomorrow morning. And if you take him to court or you try to threaten him, he will threaten you and you won't have to pay. So as managers, again, we need to ensure that we look at the contract HR has given to our people, to our subordinates. And you can't just have, and you have to look for termination clause, whether clause 7 or whatever number it is on your employment letter or the guy's employment letter, and be sure that there is termination clause. Either of the two parties can walk away. It's not a marriage. So you can't say for better for worse, am I the shareholder? So if you know that the people can walk away, then what is the reasonable period based on the job grade for the person to walk away? If you think I'm a senior manager and my contract is within 1 month, you guys are in soup. Because 1 month I just do a simple walk away. But if it's like, 3 months salary, which will be vice versa, that if I'm going, I pay 3 months salary. If you're also sacking me, you pay me 3 months salary. So most people always look at it from that other point that, if they ask these guys to go, that means you're in 3 months. No, that's 1 month. It's not a problem. But if I also get a job, I also have just 1 month notice to give to you and walk away. All right. So these key personnel, you've identified someone that is your heart, is your team lead, is what is it, not team lead by mouth. But you may not even have any position in the organization. But that guy should go, your team will collapse. That kind of guy should be not treated specially, but go into his contract and make it difficult for him to leave. Not slavery. Again, watch that mindset. Okay, don't want him to go. You now say, for any training you send him to, he has to stay for 3 years. If some of us do those contracts, we can even charge you to court legally, and we both look at the the labor law. I will both sit down with the labor law 2015 and let's see where it is that you can tie somebody down because you send them on training. You send people on training with trust that the person will stay. And if it doesn't stay, that is it. All right. But because again, Nigeria labor environment is so unregularized, permit my word if you are an HR person here, is so people can sit down somewhere and say, because you send somebody on 100,000 training, then you have to work for 6 months. Why now? If you are treating the person right, then it should actually, I want to say treat right, it's not just about salary. You cannot make that work environment to be toxic and you are paying peanuts. The person will walk away now. But we've seen where the person is not even earning so well, but because he loves the work environment, it's not about being lazy. Like I said, there is a compelling business need. We know where we are going. We know what we need to achieve together. And we put plans in place to achieve those things. And we work our hearts, pardon my effort, we work our hearts off to get the job done. And yet, people are confident to pick up the phone and say, hello, boss, I won't be able to come to work today because of XYZ. Without the boss thinking the person is lying. What do I mean? Build trust. But some people have done a lot of things that I can't even trust them. Even when, okay, so for instance, today I'm actually on time off for today. I just took one day out of my annual leave. But I know some other things I've done today that ideally, that means that I'm actually working. All right. And it's not because, we want to be workaholic. No, it's because you have a responsibility and accountability. I can't say that, because I'm on time off, a contract that is due on Monday, I should leave it to Monday morning. No, I need to keep following up on who should sign or who need to sign and, make sure that they do what they need to do. And after that, I can then say, okay, work done. Go back to work on Monday and we're still smiling together. That means you are happy doing the job you are doing. But if you're not happy doing it, you are on time off now. Everybody waits. All right. The personnel can leave suddenly. That's what I'm saying. What mitigation do you have in place? What control do you have in place? The answer is no, none. No contract, nothing. I just explained that. Then what's the severity of the impact? If that guy leave, what will happen to you? Nothing but failure. You've just signed a contract with a big company. That guy is your top technician. That guy is your lead FM. He has the experience, the expertise, the competence. He's skated. He's skilled, knowledgeable, experienced. He's talented, and very technical. He has the willingness. He's disciplined. He's empowered. And you allow that kind of person to go. So he has the right skill, knowledge, academic qualification, training, experience, discipline, SKATED. He's skated. And you are there. You watch him leave. Be sure that the contract you guys just got will soon be in a mess. Even the current one you are doing will be in a mess. If and only if you don't have a plan. And that's why we are here. What is your plan? So you've identified that, okay, there's somebody like that. What do we have here? 54. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 3, 18, right? 18 times 3, 54. That's your biggest problem. Your problem is not water. Your problem is maybe theft also. But if you have money, look at how do we upskill others? How do we have a management system in place that documents everything this guy is doing? How do we have what we call an SOP, standard operating procedure? How do we ensure that everybody has, how do you make this guy a specialist? If you don't do this, For the next 1 year, we'll be having breakdown. I was working for an organization and we allowed some people to leave. And Kilonshe, what are they doing that others cannot do? In fact, we have some people outside Nigeria that can do it. No problem. And we moved from 60% performance to 48% in 6 months. So initially, things were fine. All right. But because we are operating machines, there's what we call machinery deterioration. Things there will be wear and tear. Now, it now needs the current persons or people to have the same expertise to fix it. And if they don't worry, we start shooting each other. And before you know, the shop floor became toxic because performance is not showing up. I know why. Key people have left. So the root cause has still not been addressed. Why did they leave? We're not talking about that. We are looking at, yes, machine is not working. If you like, buy a new machine, give it to, like, go and buy a new car, give it to a bad driver. It will still spoil the car. It's a matter of time. But if you have a fairly good car and you have a good and experienced, caring, disciplined driver, even though there are issues, we will still get there. We'll get to that Lagos, all right? We will not just be running at 120. The other one, we drive a Lamborghini to the bush. What am I saying? You can use this event threat analysis, this table I just showed you now, to plan a preventive measure and or to plan a recovery measure. Now you know that you have a problem. Some people, if they leave your company, but they're already God now, semi-God. You give them good money, sir. They've been there for 10, 15, 20 years. Same position, no promotion, no motivation, just salary. Maybe because they don't have the right education. It's not a problem. How do we turn those guys to trainers? How do you make them hand over their experience to next? How do you massage their ego? How do you motivate them? I was telling you about the fishbone analysis, right? 2 days ago. When there is an incident, how do you prevent a reoccurrence? And I told you about the Ishikawa, fishbone analysis. What we're talking about the 5M plus E. What we're looking at the incident management itself. The man, the machine, the material, the method, and environment. So you can integrate tools to solve your problem. I will soon answer, okay, what's my problem? What are the events? What are the threats? What's the possibility that this thing will occur? If it occurs, if it's going to occur, can I know quickly? Can I see the signs? Is it going to give me a sign? If a bearing of a machine will collapse, you will know. It's a sin, sir. Eshe. It's a sin to come and meet me as bearing has collapsed. I was just looking at you. You will fix it. And if you like to take the whole day, no, I won't say thank you or well done. Because bearing cannot collapse just like that. There is the heat and lubrication check. Bearing in grease. If it's in the right environment, it's being greased. It's just ball now. The ball will keep rolling. There will be no friction and it won't break. And if there is friction, it will be generating heat. If two metals are rubbing themselves, it will be generating heat. Temperature will increase. So if there is increased temperature in a bearing area, then I know that there is dry lubrication. Listen to me. I'm not saying there cannot be substandard bearing that will fail suddenly. But remember the first law of motion I told you about, that a body will be on in a state of rest, or will keep moving at that steady speed unless it's acted upon. What it means that what moves is moved by something else. What moves is moved by something else. Events don't just happen, they are signs. Can it occur? What's the probability? If it's going to occur, can I know? Or can we know? Do we have existing preventive measures or mitigations that prevent this thing from happening? Okay, if it happens, how bad can it be? How serious? Severity. Multiply that 4. The higher your number, the higher your problem. Pick the ones with the higher number and ask yourself, how can we reduce all the threes to ones? That's the aim of this game. How can we make it unlikely for the person to leave? Let's say we agree that we cannot do anything. We cannot control human being. Even though if the guy want to stay, it's possible. It's why we say, let's go. I'm not staying in Nigeria, which is fine. But speed of onset, can we make it a gradual, very slow process? Can we put in mitigations that will give us time? Can we buy time? Pay the guy well, make his contract difficult to leave, make him train others, massage his ego, make him the chief engineer, because somebody chief engineer. I don't know what is chief in engineering that he's doing. Massage his ego, make him, empower him. We call something empower through trust. Make him make some decisions. And even if it doesn't go right, of course, so it has to be a calculated decision. So you want to make him, you want him to start making decisions. Take him through what we call SDM, sustainable decision making, where you don't look at your objective alone. Okay, if I need to do this now, at least my targets, I'll meet my targets. No. How does that then impact the organization? Take him through an SDM course. You don't know how to go about it, talk to us. Then we help you design something that an HR person can help you deliver. So, okay, this is how you make a sustainable decision in every situation and empower him to make those calls. However, there'll be exceptions. Oh, if it's beyond this is the approval limit. So give him approval. They want to spend 20,000. Give him approval now. Then have an internal audit process around it. Not that you want to buy sellotape. It's not that spends 10 years, 15 years with you, a senior boy. You want to buy sellotape, he has to come to you. FM, so that they can sign the use of black tape, use of this, use of that every time. It's fine, though. You've made storekeeper even superior to your senior technician. Don't worry, we'll soon leave you guys to where we have his freedom. Mind you, theft is a problem. So I know as an engineer that artisans even steal on sites. And I'm also very brutal on them. All right. But it doesn't mean that you leave things as you must have the full control every time. No. Wait an audit process. Let him do it and be accountable. Then it's during that accountability sessions, all right, then have all those your critique. Oh, why did we do this? How are we able to do this? Blah, blah, blah. And the guy will explain. And he'll also be aware that, oh, there is an eye watching. Somebody's watching him. All right. Remember that if a key personnel is lost, everything about the business might be lost. Next slide, please. I've spoken about this. Next slide. Next slide. So we're saying that what should you have in your plan? If there are local regulations or authority or statutes that you need to reference or quote, please put there. The objective, the scope, what does it cover? The situations and assumptions, of course, the events that can happen. Then the emergency level. So you may want to do prioritization of the emergencies, level 1, level 2, level 3, depending on how severe it's going to impact the business, depending on the level within the organization that you want to bring in. So there are some things that, okay, it has to it can stop at the level of the plant manager. There's something that will actually stop at the level of maybe facility manager. There's something that will get even to the point of the MD being notified. If somebody dies now, will it stop at the level of FM? No, it will get to the MD. All right. And there's what we call the incident command system, the ICS. That's the command and organization. Who is doing what? What should be done at every point. Also, there must be communication. All right. How will these documents be communicated? Pasted on the company is a notice board now, shared with all employees, printed and kept at the reception. I don't know how you want to communicate, but people must be aware of the emergency plan. All right, and in that communication also you put the phone number of people that can be reached in case of an emergency. Then you do the drill and training. You educate people and you do drill exercise to ensure that what you've told them is fully, being complied with. Then you must plan maintenance. You must plan restoration and recovery. All right. So if a land is polluted, what do we do with that? Then the version and distribution control must be on documents, especially if your company is ISO certified or is looking towards ISO certification. Appendices, remember to put your local contact list. We need organization as name, phone number, and email. If there are policies that need to be complied with, put the policy, emergency scenarios, and what needs to be done. Some people don't even know what they need to do in case of fire. So when you do a drill, you've trained them. You also need to put the scenario in the document. All right. Then supply list. Supply list, which means that okay, things that you need, who are the vendors that will supply those things. All right. It's a maintenance schedule, fiscal plan, auditing strategy, and what have you. Next, please. It's almost 7 o'clock. Next slide. Okay. So implementing plans. Distribute the plan, create, review, implement policies and start procedures, review and revise job descriptions, prepare for assigned functions. All right. Those are part of the implementing plans that you should have. All right. Next slide. So in your continuity kit, what do you need? Hard copy. You know why? Because technology can actually fail us. Some of us we say, oh no, we use a tab. Yes, sir. I'm not saying you should not use a tab, but I'm saying that technology can actually fail us. So in that case, what do we need to do? We need to have hard copies of this, effectively with us. All right. Then keep all these together, not just within the facility, but also in a place where, because the facility can also get burnt. I will now say, oh, our documents are gone. No, there must be an alternate location. It could be maybe the house of the MD. It could be, I don't know, but there must be an alternate location. Next slide, please. We're almost done. Okay, but let's talk about the practical approach that you will need to meet local agencies to determine their procedure during a crisis. Now you are meeting them not during the crisis. You are meeting them before the crisis, so that we can prepare for the crisis. All right, you don't understand their need. Compile a list of vendors, especially alternate supply. So you are working in a company and you are managing residential estates. All right. If water pollution, you are in Lekki Aja, if water pollution is likely, then you must have alternate water suppliers, so that if there is actually water pollution, we can quickly and swiftly call another company to say, we need water. All right. and they'll be able to respond to you. And that cannot happen on the day of the event of the emergency. No, that's wrong, sir. You have to do it way before, so that on the day of the event of the incident, you just put the phone call through. They're on standby. The money is already agreed. It's not that they will say no. If you don't send money, they can't do. No, there's already a contract in place that for everything done, this is how we make payments. If the payment is that okay, you will make payments a week, a day, or after invoicing, then they will expect that and they will deliver to you. Okay. Also, possible evacuation route, alternate workplace in case there is serious flood or fire burn, and you develop a plan. Next slide, please. I think that's about it. But next slide. Again, test the system. That's conduct a drill. All right, conduct a drill. There's no harm in you doing that. Conduct a drill. Test what you have planned. Audit what you have tested. All right. Or I mean, audit the plan. And hello. You can
Yeah,
then
I'm
go
here,
ahead
sir.
to do your assessment. I think I will allow for 2 to 5 minutes question before we close the class. All right. So I think we've come to the end of the class now. So, and I hope that we can boldly say that we understand what emergency preparedness is all about, and as well as business continuity. And to a very large extent, we know how to identify the hazards or the events that can happen to us and stop our normal operation. And we know even how we can list out these events and analyze them one after the other using the event threat analysis, so we can prioritize the ones that are more important over the others and put in the resources the way they should be. All right. Thank you. Questions, please. The floor is open. You can raise up your hand and we'll call you again. Hello. Hello, is anyone here?
Yes, we can hear you.
Any question, please?
Stop.
Any question, please? Yes.
Okay, hello, sir.
I'm here.
Hello? Yes, so I want to ask, these HSC normal activities like fire alarm, fire extinguisher, can we also say they are emergency preparedness, or they are just normal basic PPM to be
So
in
they
a
are
facility?
part of the resources that so that means you've evaluated that there is likelihood of fire events happening in your premises. So now you have put in resources in place. So your smoke detector, sprinkler system, your FM 200, what again? Your fire extinguishers and all that are resources that you have now put in place to both mitigates and prevents. Some will prevent. So something like the smoke detector will prevent because it will sound before the fire goes big. All right. But sprinkler system and fire extinguishers will then be used to reduce the damage that will happen in case of a fire. I don't know if you get that. So
Yes.
for both emergency planning or preparedness and business continuity, you need smoke detector, sprinkler system, FM2 in your data center, fire extinguishers, fire blanket, and what have you to prepare and reduce the impact of the fire.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we'll talk about this in our next class around fire. All right, so I'll be teaching you fire safety, and of course the management of fire in our next class.
Daddy, this pizza is cold. This pizza is cold. Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir, for
thank
the
you, sir.
class. All right. Thank you all for joining today's section. See you all next week. Oh,
Good night.
have a
Okay, sir.
wonderful weekend.
All right, thank you.
And don't forget the field trip that will be happening tomorrow.
Okay.
Did you all get that?
Yes, noted.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Miracle Jackson and guys. Bye.